2x2, time to go racing. As we said before, it'll be 18 laps to go when they get around. They'll put the first two in the books here under a yellow. All Jay Howard, driver development, front row. McNeely on the inside, Papa Savas on the outside. Time to kick off a race day here in Toronto. Out of turn number 11. Everybody lined up nicely, waiting for it. We got it. Green, green, green. 4-5 wide at the tail of the field. Here they come down into turn number 1. Down the bottom, very tight. Couple drivers getting through. One driver having to take a cutoff. They went through, weren't able to make the corner. There's a full cutoff in turn 1 where you come all the way back out the other side. And that one driver you see there having to come out the escape route. Down they come on the straightaway here. I wonder if that might have been Thomas Schrag, I think, had to take the escape route in turn number 1. And keep him out of some chaos. Here's the first run into turn number 1. Side by side for third for the Pabst cars. Otherwise, people looking good here now. You got to give each other room. The respect level has to be high here on the opening lap, although it is a great opportunity to make an overtake. Everybody's settling in. You see the driver sliding here, still on kind of cold tires. One driver has a G3 Argyros, I believe, slow out of 5. So one of the Jay Howard cars has been slow out of turn number 5, the 63 of Argyros. There's a wing on one of our D-Force drivers. Here's a move to the inside as well. That is Hudson Schwartz going to the inside of Elliott Cox, so Schwartz will grab a spot as well. We'll give you a full field rundown when they come back around. There's Thomas Schrag in that number 2, had to take the escape route of turn number 1. Checked up, first time at speed through turn number 11. The driver's giving himself a little bit more room on the outside of the racetrack. Foot and a half, some even a little more careful coming through, but Evagor's Papa Savas has gone to P1. I talked about the fact that he essentially needed a victory to keep himself in the championship fight, and he is leading right now. Liam McNeely into second. Garcia runs in third. Fourth, Sam Corey. Fifth, Evan Cooley. Sixth spot, Quinn Armstrong. Seventh, Hudson Schwartz able to get by Elliott Cox. Ninth is Michael Costello and Max Taylor in the championship fight as well, all the way down into the 10th position. Issues early for Thomas Schrag and G3 Argyros. So the opening lap in the books. Now the drivers have the heat in the tires that they need. They're going to go to work at it here. You see the fights that will start developing throughout the race. Ayrton Howe from DC Autosport joining us here. Ayrton, what do you think about those first couple laps? Pretty clean.
Yeah, very clean. It was great to see these guys all get through the first 2 laps now under green flag conditions. I'm not quite sure what caused Thomas to go off in turn 1 there, but unfortunate for him. He's been quick all weekend. And running at the back of the pack at this street course is going to be tough to pass all these guys back up under green. He's probably hoping for a yellow, maybe a restart, get a couple passes down. But Evan Cooley, what a weekend for him.
Okay.
You know, second weekend in the USF car, coming up from the juniors class, running up in the top 5 both races now. Really good to see that kid up there.
No doubt about it. Evan Cooley, as he had mentioned, one of our full-timers in the USF Juniors program, made his debut at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course back in May in USF2000. Promptly put the car on the pole position, and a podium as well, and almost had a race win in race number 2 there after contact, although contact with Nico Christodoulou put him out in turn number 1. Nonetheless, Cooley is a guy that we'll be watching next year in USF 2000. Big brake lock up there. That's from Cooley coming down into the end of the straightaway to turn number 3. Got deep on the brakes. Again, we were watching drivers moving forward. Eddie Beswick, another driver I said to keep an eye on. Beswick started back in 15th position. He's already up to 12th. So +3 early for Eddie Beswick, but taking his time. Again, Beswick, the current point leader in the Australian Formula 4 Championship. And there's the car that doesn't have the wing, the front wing. That's Lucas Facuri in the number 10 D-Force machine. That is going to hurt, folks, because there are a number of corners here where you're going to try to carry a lot of speed. Turn 1, turn 2, that you're carrying a ton of speed through turn 7 as well, 6 and 7. And Ayrton, without that front wing, you just have that constant understeer. You just never can get the thing to point. You're going to always have to wait on throttle. You're going to slowly see guys go by him as they're able to come through this corner here with a lot more speed.
Yeah, those last couple of corners there, turns 9, 10, 11, very high speed, long duration corners, leading on to one of the longest straights on the track coming down into turn 1 with a hard brake zone. He's going to be limited to speed out of the last corner. It's going to limit him down the straight and really open him up to get passed down into 1.
And listen, when you're a young driver early on, that's one of the things you got to take care of the front wing of the car. I know you're trying to be on him as you watch all these drivers be super close right on the gearbox, but man, if you get that front wing knocked off, you've essentially ended your race. It'll be a tough one here for GFO, or rather for Facuri as he's falling down the order. There's another pass. Oh, there's that battle there. Remember early on we saw Hudson Schwartz get by Elliott Cox. Cox just returned the favor over in turn number 5. Todd, nice move to the bottom there for Elliot Cox.
Not someplace that you'll normally see a pass here around the streets of Toronto, but if you can make it work, take advantage, and Elliot Cox has absolutely done that. Interested to see what happens at the front of the field. Evagor's Papasava seems to be skating away just a little bit from pole sitter Liam McNeely, and I also wondered how much conversation there was about the start of this race. Oh, just had one tag the wall.
That is a point leader. Garcia tagged the wall. A couple of drivers got pretty loose coming through there. A big tank slapper for Liam McNeely, and then Garcia white side of the tires coming out of turn number 11. It's caught a lot of drivers out over the last couple of years since the kind of reworking of those last couple of corners, Todd. He got a little wide. That is not what you want to see if you're the fans and the crew of the current point leader.
Sam Corey, yesterday's winner, had just gotten around Max Garcia the lap before. Evagor's Papasavas also chasing him in the championship out front. You wonder if Max Garcia is thinking, all right, they're in front of me, but if I can make up a little ground, I don't want to let them get too far ahead of me. I want to keep this championship really close and not lose as many points as I have to.
This scrap right now is getting a little bit hectic, and that is Cox, the 3 of Max Taylor, Hudson Schwartz, and Michael Costello. That got super close. Schwartz tried to get to the inside of Cox coming to turn number 3. Elliott didn't give it up. They had more contact coming out of 4. That allowed Max Taylor to get in there. Remember, Max currently sitting 3rd place in points, 41 markers behind. And look at this. This is an elbows up fight right now. Costello able to get by as well. And here comes Eddie Beswick from 11th. He's trying to come up to make it a fight here as well. So the scrap happening deeper in the field. We're seeing the fight between Sam Corey and Max Garcia. We're seeing scraps between Cox, Schwartz, Taylor, and Costello. This is good stuff here. And early on in the run, remember, a 20-lapper. This is only working lap number 8 right now. Lap 8 working. And Papasavas, as Todd had mentioned, a 1.6 second lead, out front clean. Aaron, you get a chance to do a bunch of F1600 racing as well. We've seen a couple of drivers, saw it yesterday with Simon Sykes. When he gets out into the lead, veteran drivers often able to pull away. You've done it many times when you get out front. It's harder in an F1600 car, as we know with the draft, but there's just something about being up front, right, with that open racetrack. You don't have to, nobody's pushing you from behind. You can start banging off those laps that allow you to pull away.
It's a chance to take a breath and really just start focusing on your own laps without having to worry about people behind you trying to draft up and pass. It's a time to just really put your head down, and if you see the gap is growing, it's just a confidence boost too. You're really able to get out there, start opening up a gap, and really hope to go green to checker in this race, because if it stays this way, it's starting to really look like Evagor's race.
Heck of a drive right now as well for Max Taylor. He's been able to get by both Schwartz and now Elliot Cox. So Max Taylor now up into 7th position. Remember, he's thinking championship as well. He's your USF Juniors championship point leader right now is Max Taylor, trying to see if he can't get on the podium at the end of the season, the championship for both of these series. Right now, currently 3rd in points, but again, Garcia's got him by a couple of spots on the racetrack, looking to expand his lead over Taylor, but Corey's in front, as is Papasavas. Evagor 71 points back. He needs this victory to keep himself in championship contention. That's a 63, or is that, I thought that might have been Argyros potentially having a bit of an issue there. G3 Argyros to the tail of the field. Yeah, remember we talked about him having issues early. He's a lap back right now, so as was Jace Bacon. So a couple of the Jay Howard cars having trouble. Up front, though, Costello right in the middle of the scrap, as we know. And, of course, the leaders from Jay Howard Driver Development, Evagor's Papasavas and Liam McNeely, looking to go 1-2 here. Again, closing in on the halfway point. Here's the 2 drivers here on top of each other. Good scrap further back as well. I want to say that might be... I think Argyros in the middle of that fight. Yeah, there was 3 cars there. Argyros is I think pulled through. I want to say he, as we talked him slowing on the backstretch there, coming into turn number 3, I think he allowed his teammates to get by as he was slow. They may call to bring him in. We'll see how it all plays out, but nonetheless, Papasavas and McNeely still running up front. The gap was a lot larger, over 1.3 seconds at a time. McNeely's closed back up, Todd. A half a second he gained on that last lap. Less than a second now, McNeely behind Papasavas.
Wonder if some of that has to do with Argyros and navigating their way around through the back part of the circuit. We'll see if Evagor's Papasavas can stretch stretch that lead out a little bit ahead of Liam McNeely. Sam Corey, Max Garcia, and Evan Cooley, as Ayrton mentioned, is having a good run up to 5th now.
Yeah, Cooley's right on the gearbox right now. Max Garcia as well. 4th yesterday for Cooley, and it's interesting, right? 4th is a great finish, but 4th is also almost the podium. So 5th is almost better than 4th because, hey, I got a top 5. But when you're 4th there, you know that you're so close to getting that podium. You want to keep the celebration going. You don't want to drive straight back to the paddock. You want to stop up here and get a chance to be in victory lane. Yeah,
it's definitely just one away. You really want that podium, and just like you said, sometimes the 5th place feels a little better than the 4th.
For points-wise, though, you want those P4s, whatever you can do to get those consistent races. We've seen this angle here coming out of turn number 11. We've seen a number of drivers have big tank slappers way wide. You see how much corner speed they're trying to bring out there. Ayrton talked about that's a quick corner. You really need that front wing. This is where Lucas Facuri had so much trouble. But you watch these drivers kind of slide and then bite it back in, try to get a bit more wheel in it and stay out of the wall. We saw Max Garcia tap that wall at one point and still holding on to P4. The damage, I'm sure, holding on right now. But I guarantee you those on the sidelines, Todd, are wondering how hard that hit was. They saw it on the big screen, and you wonder whether or not a part could fail.
Exactly. You're at the midpoint of the race now, and we've gone a few laps. Everything seems to be okay, but is it just taking the stress lap after lap, and are we going to feel the effects of that later on? Is that something that sits in the back of your mind? Ayrton, if you're a driver and you've done that, do you have to put that out of your mind, I'm sure, and focus forward, but you know it's there?
Absolutely. You've always got to focus on moving forward, but at the same time, you really got to pay attention to the car, because if you feel something going, if you can navigate around it and really bring the car back without pushing too far and getting that part to fail, then a P8's always better than a DNF.
That's it. And again, watching Garcia still running nicely there in 4th. Evan Cooley putting the pressure on. A little further back, a clean run for Quinn Armstrong. Quinn had a good run yesterday as well, finished in the 8th spot, and he was part of that skirmish over in turn number 5, coming home P8, currently running in the 6th position. So a solid effort for the Aussie for D-Force Racing. Let's talk a little bit about your teammate, Carson Etter. Has had a rough weekend. He's been in the wall a couple of times on the weekend, but right now having a cleaner run here, P15. Again, as a rookie for a driver like Carson, any of the rookies in the field, it's sad that you're not able to run here this weekend. The key is to come to Toronto, learn and get a feel for it. There's one driver, that's the Costello. He has overcooked it into turn number 3. Costello locking up the right front. He'll slam it into reverse. He'll lose a bunch of spots. There goes Giafoni by, that's for 13th. Here comes Brady Golan. He's able to continue, so it's going to be a 13th spot there, all the way from 9th down to 13th for Costello. But back to that point, for a driver like Carson Etter and some of the rookies coming in here, it's really just about getting that first experience at Toronto and trying to get as many laps as you can.
It absolutely is, Rob.
Driver there, touched again. That was the number 90, I believe, or maybe the 92 of Beswick. Yeah, that's Beswick in the 92. Oh, he gets into the wall coming out of turn number 8. So contact for Eddie Beswick, a little wide coming out of turn 8. The first driver I think we've seen from our series tap the wall, and that is going to be left side damage. We got a replay of that. Have a look coming out of this. Oh, he overcooks it, doesn't get it turned, and into the tires. So left front damage, and he knows it. He actually puts his hands on his helmet. Disappointed with the issue there. A tough one yesterday for Eddie Beswick, and he was running almost up into the top 10. A horrible effort there, a problem there for Eddie Beswick. But that's so easy to do. I know you haven't run here before. You've run, St. Pete, and you're taking so much, so much corner speed. You're trying to push it, and if you just don't get the thing wound up and turned, at that point you're a passenger.
So upsetting for Beswick. He's been on pace all weekend. His debut in the USF2000 series. And turn 8 especially, really bumpy on the brake zone. You've got a manhole cover right when you start to turn in. And I'm not sure if Joey was peeking in and maybe got him spooked a little bit, but you saw he just got a little bit too far in. Could have been the bumps, could have been Joey inside of him, and just upsetting into the tire barrier.
We talked about Carson Etter, your team DC Autosport. I know you've been sitting, obviously not racing, but you've been sitting in on all the debrief. You've been looking at all the video, all the data, so you understand that corner and the bumps coming in can really upset the car.
It's a very aggressive corner, yeah. Probably from the video, it looks like one of the most aggressive on the track so far. and just upsetting 2 DNFs now for Beswick, and really high hopes for him. I got a chance to race against him in 1600. Really great kid, and he was really good on pace this weekend. So hopefully it'd be great to see him back in the car at Portland.
Yeah, either Portland. I think he might be back in Australia for the remainder of the series there. But I hope we see Eddie Beswick full time in 2025. That's a kid I think would be a very impressive driver. Oh, there's contact there. Someone got into the wall. I think coming out of the corner. Watch to see if there's issue here. Yeah, that's it. Look at the problem here. That is Cooley. Cooley's got some issues as well. He's trying to hold on to it. Look at the left. Oh, look at the right rear or left rear. He gets into the wall coming out of turn number 7. That is back-to-back exclusive Autosport cars from inside the top 10. Beswick had just got to 10th, and Cooley was running P5. Pushing hard, wide on the exit of turn number 7, tagged the wall. Left rear suspension damage. Luckily, and maybe to his credit, being able to bring it back without wrecking the car coming back in. He gets to pit lane. But that's going to bring a couple drivers up into the top 10. That's going to put Brienza up into 9th, and Nicholas Giaffoni will now go into the top 10. Giaffoni staying out of trouble and will inherit a couple of spots after drivers in front have had issues. Watch this scrap here right now, folks. That's the top 4 drivers. They are lining up. That's Papasavas, McNeely, Corey, and Garcia. And the fight is on right now. McNeely actually really perfectly positioned in terms of Jay Howard and Papasavas trying to get himself closer to the championship. He's got to run and blocker to a certain extent right now. Todd, he wants his own top finish, but right now Papasavas with a victory with, what, 6 laps remaining? This is working good right now. Again, Garcia tried to go to work on his teammate.
Oh, yeah, it's been interesting to watch those two. The gap has remained fairly steady. It's about a half a second now between the leader, Evagor's Papasavas, and Liam McNeely. And I mentioned how much they may have talked about the start and those team orders, so to speak. And now I'm sure there's a lot of communication going on with Sam Corey and Max Garcia right behind them. He's not necessarily trying to block, but he's not also not going to wave them by to chase down his teammate.
Yeah, he is not going to make it easy at all. Again, he wants to be on the podium as well. Even though he's got these 2 championship contenders behind him, he knows that Evagor's Papasavas, his teammate up front, needs a win to get back into the fight. Garcia still holding on strong into a P4 result right now. Max Taylor back in 6th. Taylor will lose a bit of ground. Remember, it's a triple header when we head to Portland, so 99 points still up for grabs in Portland. That's a great fight here right now between Quinn Armstrong and Max Taylor. Taylor trying to see if he can't minimize the damage here and not fall too far back. He's 41 points back coming in. Doesn't want to lose too many. As I said, 99 points up for grabs at the triple header in Portland, so there's still a lot of points still to be earned when we get to the finale weekend on the Pacific Northwest. This is a great scrap right now. Again, that is for 5th and 6th between Armstrong and Taylor. I love the fact that the top 4 drivers essentially nose to tail. Look at this, 5 laps remaining. We're going to have a good old-fashioned Donnybrook up here in Canada. Gloves will be off over these last couple of laps, and away we go. And I don't mean boxing gloves, Todd. I'm talking hockey gloves.
Of course.
We're having a scrap here.
It's a scrap.
That's it. And again, further back, Elliot Cox all by himself in the 7th spot. Same goes for Hudson Schwartz. Same goes for Joey Brienza. Outside these battles up front in the top 6, everybody kind of running by themselves on the racetrack. So we're going to be able to focus on this lead group right now. There they are. Oh, there's a lockup for McNeely. Right front, coming down to the braking zone. Taylor going to throw it to the bottom. He gets to the inside. Armstrong going to try to fight him back side by side through turn number 4. Book it. He is through. A 2-corner pass, and Taylor goes to P5. Aaron, what do you think about that one? A big aggressive move to the inside.
Elbows were definitely out on that one. Max Taylor were really going deep into turn 3 there. I'm glad they were able to have a little bit of contact, but nothing really came out of it. Just good elbows out racing down into 3, and Taylor was definitely wanting to get up. Maybe he can start to close the gap up to Quinn Armstrong there and see if he can get that top 4 fight into a top 5 fight.
Oh, there's a wreck there. Someone had trouble in turn 10. Hard wreck, I believe, into turn number 10. Yeah, there it is. Big wreck in 10. And that's going to bring out the yellow, and I think this is probably the end of the race, folks. There's only 3 laps to go. Big impact, a driver coming out of turn number 10. I don't know if they caught the inside or what, but that was a hard shunt to the outside of the corner. I want to say that we're going to have a look at this again. I'm trying to figure out which driver that is. We are going to have a look at this, folks. We have a replay of it. Watch them coming through here. That might have been Quinn Armstrong. Coming to the corner, big slide, and bam, hard impact for Quinn Armstrong in the number 11. That is such a tough complex of corners, the 9, 10, 11 complex. You saw coming through there, he's already on the slide like he may have tapped the wall potentially. And that is effectively going to end this one. He was running in the 6th position. That's going to move Elliot Cox to 6th, Hutchin Schwartz up to 7th. Joey Brienza goes to 8th, Nicholas Giafoni 9th, and after the overcooking on the brakes in turn number 3, Michael Costello going to get elevated back up into the 10th spot. But Quinn Armstrong was having such a good run, a good battle with Max Taylor. He was running easily there in the 6th spot, and he makes hard impact coming out of turn number 10. Let's have another look at that if we can. If we'll ask the guys in the truck to re-rack that, we'll give a chance for Ayrton to have a look at this. We'll bring our driver analyst in and see if he can't decipher what he thinks might have happened there to Quinn Armstrong. Again, as they come back around, it'll be 2 laps to go. There is no way they're cleaning this thing up, and at this point, I don't think you're gonna go red either to hold it. Here it is, Ayrton, have a look here. Yeah, full slide.
Big slide coming out of 10 right there. I think as you're coming through 9, it's a quick left-right switch back, the weight transferring back over as you're turning right. And there's a big bump right in between those 2 corners. Coming through that whole complex, very bumpy. I think he was really just trying to keep up there with Max Taylor after passing, and he could have had a loose car and been sliding around, and that could have been what was keeping Max Taylor up right on his bumper, and could have potentially let Taylor pass him, so he could have been fighting a loose car the whole time and just went a little bit too hard that lap.
That's it, right? Just pushed it hard to try to stay up there. We are under full course yellow, and for all intents and purposes, this will be the end of this event, and this is huge in terms of the championship because Evagoras Papasavvas came into this race. 4 races to go. We came into the day here, 3 left, and he was 71 points back. A rough run for Evagoras could have potentially put him over 99 points back. That would have taken him out of contention. This was almost a must-win situation for the young driver for J. Howard Development from Ohio, and a 2nd victory on the season. We won't call it yet. We're saying final lap up here. So, indeed, Evagoras Papasavvas with a big win. He delivers when counted. His teammate Liam McNeely, the perfect wingman for him as he finishes 1-2. They started on the front row. They end at P1 and P2. Papasavvas from 2nd for the win. McNeely from pole to 2nd. A P2 finish, podium in the debut for the British driver Liam McNeely. He is going to be a force in 2025 for the championship here in USF 2000. Still fighting for the title in USF Juniors, so he may even have the scholarship colors on the car next year. But as they bring it through, I believe they're going to go checkered flag when they come back around here. Again, the USF Pro 2000 drivers on the false grid right now, getting set for their final race of the weekend. But Evagoras Papasavvas, folks, is going to win this one here under yellow. Liam McNeely will finish in 2nd. Sam Corey ahead of Max Garcia. He'll take another couple of points out. It's going to be, I'm not sure the gap right now between 3rd and 4th in points. I want to say it's 3. So he'll get it down to 35 points. There's your twin checkers from Aaron Likens at start-finish. Corey gaining another 3 or 4 points. Who got fast lap of the race? Max Taylor. So although he'll lose a couple of points to Garcia, that'll be big as well. And remember, Papasavvas laps led too. There's a bonus point for most laps led. So he gets himself back in the scrap. He'll gain likely 10 points, so he'll be 61 points back. It's not done for Papasavvas yet either. There you go. Papasavvas P1, McNeely and Corey will be on the podium here momentarily. Garcia coming home in 4th, Max Taylor 5th. Elliot Cox, a soldiering run to 6th. Hudson Schwartz 7th. Joey Brienza ends up 8th. Nicholas Giafoni 9th. And Michael Costello rounding out the top 10. Just outside the top 10, Brady Golan coming home in 11th. Thomas Schrag, who had to take the escape route in turn 1 of the opening lap, fights his way back up to 12th. Carson Eder able to finish the race in 13th. Good for Carson after a really rough weekend, bringing it home this time. Lucas Facuri, no wing, ends up in the 14th spot. Quinn Armstrong, the first of the drivers out of the race. Armstrong in the wall in 10. Cooley taps the wall in turn number 7 or 6 rather. Beswick into the wall in turn 8. Jameson, Bacon, and Argyros all out as well. What do you think, Ayrton, for a driver like Evagoras Papasavvas in essentially a must-win situation? It's always cool to see a driver deliver.
Yeah, great race for Evagoras. Really good start, kept his nose about him, and it was definitely very beneficial to have a teammate up there with him. He got around McNeely, and I think McNeely knew about the championship and helped him stay out in front with keeping those 2 Pabst cars held up right behind him. And you know, Evagoras, rough day yesterday. Really good to see him bounce back and get those points.
I love having you in the booth with me, Ayrton, but I'd rather see you on the racetrack. I know you're trying to put things together to get back on the track in Portland while we have an opportunity before everybody comes into victory lane. Tell me about what you're doing in terms of trying to get the funding. I know you got a lot of great people around you right now.
Thank you, Rob. And yeah, I love being up here too. But it does hurt seeing these guys that I'm racing against out on track. We're doing everything we can to get out to Portland. I think we're going to be able to get out there. We're excited to get back out. It's a triple header, so hopefully we'll be able to make up the points that we don't have from this weekend.
Here he is, folks, out of the car. It's still rolling. Evagoras Papasavas, pumped up. That is a huge victory for Evagoras, for Jay Howard Driver Development. He knew he needed this. He had to come back. Crew coming in to provide their congratulations. Huge for him. Evagoras Papasavas ends up grabbing a victory, a crucial one here. He cuts the point lead. There's Jay Howard right there. He knows how important this is for Evagoras to be in the middle of the fight here. Liam McNeely, again, as we said, very impressive in his debut weekend here. The incident yesterday with Eddie Beswick and Quinn Armstrong in Turn 5 took him out of what was likely going to be a top 5 finish again. But Sam Corey coming back again. He won yesterday, 3rd place today. Todd Lewis, he did everything he needed to do. When you came into this event, he needed to finish in front of Max Garcia. He did it twice. He's cut down the points. He's in the championship fight when we head to Portland in a month's time.
Double podium weekend is about as good as you can ask for. Scores a victory, scores another 3rd place finish, and in both instances finishes ahead of the driver that you are chasing. Cut into the lead. Everybody wants an opportunity. They will have the opportunity with one more round, 3 races at Portland to come.
And we go back to 2022 when it was 2 Pabst cars and a Cape car battling for the championship. It was Miles Rowe, Jace Denmark, and Michael D'Orlando. It was D'Orlando that ended up getting the championship, not the 2 pace cars, not the 2 Pabst cars. So that may play well for Evagoras Papasavas or Max Taylor if they're in the middle of the fight. But there is Evagoras, and of course enjoying himself having got that victory. Todd, I'm going to head to victory lane. Ayrton, you hang around here. We're going to have you here for USF Pro 2000 as well. Victory lane beckons. Time to celebrate with the top 3 drivers in USF 2000. Again, wrapping up a couple of races of the Continental Tire Grand Prix of Toronto. What a great one we had in USF 2000. Not only some great racing, but it also turned things up in terms of the championship with just 3 races still to go in Portland. Let's start with the driver coming home in 3rd, gaining points. He's going to be in a title fight when we get to the Pacific Northwest. 3rd place today in USF 2000 from Pabst Racing, Sam Corey. Back-to-back podiums after a win yesterday. We've got guests from the USF Pro Championships going to help us out, passing out some awards here. Tyrone Gord coming in here with the P3 trophy for Sam Corey. And as I said, this championship tightening up. Sam Corey, tremendous job. Big time for Sam to go to P3. Max Garcia finishing in 4th. Still good points for him. He'll have that lead heading to Portland, but it is tighter than it was when we came here to Toronto. Finishing in 2nd. Folks, he's 2nd place right now in the USF Juniors points. He is going to be a star next year in USF 2000. A fantastic debut here this weekend, finishing P2 for Jay Howard Driver Development from England, Liam McNeely. Great drive today from pole. Olivia Carlson's coming up with that trophy for Liam. His first in USF 2000 competition. And again, we're looking forward to see what he can do next year. He still has a title fight in USF Juniors. He'll be heading to Road America on the 2nd weekend of August, and then, of course, to Portland as well. But I'll tell you, folks, this was essentially a must-win situation for this driver here right now. He was 71 points back coming in. Had he lost more, it was going to be tough to try to fight for a championship. He scored a victory as well at Mid-Ohio, a huge one here, as I said, must-win. He goes P1, and he is in the championship fight. Folks, from Jay Howard Driver Development, our winner today in USF 2000, give it up for Evagoras Papasavas. Little bit of relief right now. That was a must-win situation.
Yeah, it's a big relief, you know, keeping the championship in mind. But, you know, when I was out there, I wasn't thinking about the championship. It was all about just executing, hitting my marks, doing the laps that I could. And, yeah, the car was great. Car felt great. Have to thank Jay and the team for putting together such a good car, you know, right out the box in practice. So it's a really good weekend overall. We had good pace all weekend. So, yeah, I'm happy to show all the hard work that me and the team put together.
How ready are you to go to Portland right now and fight for a championship?
I mean, I'd be fine if Portland's tomorrow, so I'd go over there right now.
Congratulations. Get up on top here. Let's bring that 1st place trophy in. Again, Evagoras Papasavas, his 2nd win on the season. Taryn Sasser going to bring us that trophy in here for tremendous run for Evagoras, and as I said, we have ourselves a 4-driver battle for the championship heading to Portland. Max Garcia still with good points. Sam Corey right there in second. I'm not sure whether or not Evagoras is going to move to third, but Max Taylor's in the fight as well. We'll have 4 drivers fighting for a championship, 3 races in Portland, 99 points still up for grabs, and a scholarship worth over $450,000 to move to the USF Pro 2000 category next year. And this is an important one for these young drivers. And again, all of these drivers just 3 steps away from the NTT IndyCar Series, looking to go Pro 2000 racing in 2025. Jay Howard Driver Development having a tremendous day here. Of course, locked out the front row with Liam McNeely on the pole, Evagoras on the outside of the front row. End up with 2 finishes here, P1 and P2. Sam Corey, of course, doing what he needed to do on the weekend, and that was finish in front of his teammate Max Garcia. He did that in both races, so a crucial weekend for Sam Corey to get the points he needs. He closes the gap significantly here, heading to Portland. But behind me right now, the engines have fired for USF Pro 2000. They'll be rolling out onto the pit lane momentarily. Still a ways away from the command to fire those engines, but we've got a lot of great stuff happening here this morning. Great way to fire things up, of course, before we go racing with the Ontario Honda dealers Indy Toronto. That's going to be a fantastic 85 lapper this afternoon. Great race for the drivers here in USF 2000. We saw so many awesome battles throughout the field there. Just tremendous to watch. Champagne coming in, folks. This is it, the wrap up the weekend. These guys don't have to wear these suits for a while. Grab the champagne, boys. Grip it and rip it. Evagoras Papasavas winning in Toronto. Race number 2. The championship fired up in a big way. Can't wait to get to Portland. And again, a congratulations to Evagoras for the win. Liam in second, and Sam Corey coming home in third.